Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi, brand new Masechta. We get Maseches Niddah Daf Beis. We're holding right on top at the Mishnah. Shammai Omer. We have a very interesting, rare machlokes between actual Shammai and actual Hillel. We have plenty of machlokes between their Talmidim, Beis Shammai, the Yeshiva of Shammai and Beis Hillel, but between the Rebbeim themselves, Shammai and Hillel, there are only 3 times in Shas that they had any disagreement. It's mentioned in the Gemara Shabbos, Daf Yudal Beis, and one of those 3 is our Mishnah. So Shammai says like this: if a woman notices blood coming out of her guf, so instead of the meraglayim, she notices a trickle of dam, so that will change her status twofold. First of all, regarding transmitting tumah, if she touches something, truma or kachim or even regular items, she transmits tumah to those items. She has a status of an av hatumah, a source of tumah, until she is tovel in a mikveh and purifies herself. Now, back in the day, the system entailed just simply waiting 7 days. So if she sees dam, today is number 1, tomorrow's number 2. There's no need to make examinations, even if she has dam all throughout. As long as 7 days have passed, she's tovel and she's tar. But nowadays we are machmer, because that is true regarding a niddah. An isha who sees dam has the status of a niddah, but there's a more advanced stage of being a niddah, which is a zava. So if she's during that point in the month where the days are considered yimei ziva, so basically, if she notices dam today, for the next 7 days, these are yimei niddah, past which are called yimei ziva. So potentially, she can turn into a zava if she has dam during those days, and then it's an entirely different system. If she sees dam for 2 days in a row, certainly 3 days in a row, in that case she has to ensure that she's clean, free of any dam, for 7 days. Shiva nakiyim, after which she's tovel, etc. So because today we don't have a handle on the exact scheduling, the exact type of different colors, all kinds of complicating factors which might throw us off. Therefore, the Chachamim instituted. In fact, the Gemara says, B'nois Yisrael, Jewish women have accepted upon themselves a tremendous stringency, that anytime they see a droplet of blood, they assume themselves to be a zava, which necessitates 7 days of examination, shiva nekiyim, to ensure that there's no dam at all, after which she's tovel and she's tar. So if a woman notices blood out of her guf, she becomes a niddah with respect to being a source and a transfer of tumah. Number 2, regarding her status vis-a-vis her husband. She can have relations with her husband during the time of niddah. Interestingly, the word niddah, it's like nud, nud, right, by Cain. Distance, he was sent into exile. So the shirish, nun dalet, if you attach all kinds of letters to it, it will have the same, very similar meaning. You have niddah, you have nodad. So instead of niddah with a hey, you switch the hey for a dalet. Very similar effect. Nodad, he was exiled. Nodad. You have nidach, lo yidach mimenu nidach, thrown away. You have all kinds of nidash, right? Nidash, threshed, right? Just like broken up. So the term niddah and its shirish nun dalet denote distancing, separation, right? May niddah. You sprinkle it, you spray it, right? So separation, distancing, which reflects her status vis-a-vis her husband, while she is in the status of niddah. Now, what happens if she sees this dam? She's tummy going forward, that's for sure. Shall we be concerned that perhaps that dam was already present somewhere in her guf, in the bayis hachitzon, as Rashi calls it, the external chamber, even though it hadn't really left the isha, but once it reaches the bayis hachitzon, she's already tummy. How do we know? Maybe it was there for a while. Says the Mishnah, Shamei Omer, we're not concerned. Kol Anashim, all women. The Gemara will explain that the term all women covers any type of isha, whether or not she has a set time where she experiences this dam, she has a set period, or not. She sees randomly. Either way, Kol Anashim Dayam. It is sufficient for them to be concerned about Sha'atan, their moment. Meaning, as soon as they discover the dam, status change. But we don't have to go back in time and apply that status to her retroactively. We do have to be concerned going back. Perhaps this blood was already there in the bayis hachitzon, even though it wasn't visible from the outside, but it was there and she had a status change. So we have to go back until the last time she made a personal examination. So let's say today is Sunday. The most recent examination was last Sunday. She's tamei backwards, retroactively, from now till last Sunday. Of course, past last Sunday she's okay, because when she examined herself at that point, she had confirmed that she was tar. But from then till today, maybe she had dam in her guf, and she was matame. Anything she touched and she handled. From one examination going back to the previous examination, even if it's many days in between. Let's take a look at Rashi inside, the top Rashi. Shama Omer. Kol Anashim Dayin She'otam. Imra Sadam. If she notices blood out of her guf, Dailanu Im Tatame Truma V'Taharos. It's sufficient for us. If we consider her a catalyst for Tumah, for touching Truma and other Taharos, Shatiga Bahem, which she touches, Mishashri V'Hilach. Starting from when she noticed the dam onward. Well, I mean, we don't say, just like you discovered the dam now in her outer chamber. If she would have checked, yesterday, she would have discovered there blood there too. Because like when we do on the walls of the womb area, held it back. We know that as a fact later in Daf Mem. That as soon as there's dam in that outer chamber, she's tamei. We're not concerned. The Gemara later will explain why Shammai is not concerned. In fact, the Gemara will give us many reasons, 4 in total, why we only go from now forward. Hillel, on the other hand, goes back. She checked herself on Sunday, and she found herself to be okay. So far, so good. But the next Wednesday, she discovers dam. She no concerned the matama, she's matama made suffik. On account of that suffik called taharis, she just asked about any items which she had been involved with. From Sunday until Wednesday. Why? The Shema, perhaps. As soon as she removed her hand, meaning as soon as she completed that examination on Sunday, dam trickled into the area. Rasa. Because the Beis HaRechem, we do, which were held up by the walls of the Beis HaRechem. But says Rashi, even if there are many days passed between the first and the second examination, we consider all the taharis tamei, being time between those two events. But of course, whatever happened before the initial examination, of course they're tar, because she confirmed herself to be tar at that point. Because at that point she examined herself and she was okay. And now Tosfos points out, the top Tosfos, he says, based on the Gemara later, that of course, when we go back in time, it's only with respect to kachim and truma, because it's a chumrah with the rabbanon. So only matters of truma and kachim, which have higher standards, they were concerned that perhaps it was done. But regarding regular, plain material like chulin, all agree, daya sha'at. It's sufficient for her to be concerned going forward and not going back. So far we have two shittas. Shammai, who says, from now forward, no going back, and Hillel says go back until the most recent examination, even if it transpired ages ago. You know what? We'll take a middle approach, a compromise. Not daya sha'ata like Shammai, and not going back to recent examination, which could have been a week ago. We're not that concerned. 24 hours, or the most recent examination, whichever window of time is shorter. We're not going to be so strict like Hillel. Rashi says, it's too strict for us. To say that, so many days ago, it's hard to envision that the Beis HaRechem would hold back the blood for so long. So we're not going to go that far back. Nor we're going to go like Shammai, says Rashi. Too lenient for us. Elo, rather, what's the golden route? Meis 24 hours. Mima'etis. That will shorten al yad. Al yad, Rashi says, like the power. It will shorten the time frame of Pekida L'Pekida. So in our example, it was Sunday to Sunday. A week long? No. Meis will shorten that to 24 hours. Vice versa. Let's say she had a most recent examination within the last 24 hours. That will shorten the power of Meis. So whichever time frame is shorter. Ma'etis al yad Meis. Okay, so that's part A of the Mishnah. A woman, even if she does not have a vest, Shammai says, no worry. Dayashat. She's telling me only going forward. Hillel says, all the way back to the most recent examination, Chacham say, either that or 24 hours, whichever one is shorter. Part B of the Mishnah speaks about an Isha who has a vest. She has a set time, an established track record. Rashi says it happened 3 times. She has a pattern that she sees on the 20th day of a month. In that case, all agree. There's no concern prior to that moment. Kol Isha sheyesh lo vest. She has a set, established track record, a pattern, a schedule where she sees the dam. Dayashata. In her case, of course, it's sufficient for her to be concerned only from the moment of discovery. Rashi says she was boidik herself on the day of the vest, and she discovered herself to have dam. Okay, she's telling me from now, going forward, that's it. Dayashata. Another example, we all agree that the concern is minimized by Meshameshes Be'edim, a woman who had relations with her husband. And the aid is a clause, so she made some sort of examination prior. So even though it's not such a comprehensive examination like a standard examination, has the same status of examination, and it can shrink the time frame. So if it took place recently, even if it's within 24 hours, she need not be concerned past that point, going back past that point. It will shrink, it will override al yad, the power of Meis Leis. Al yad, it will shorten the time of the Meis Leis, or the Pekida L'Pekida, which, as we said, was a week-long period, time frame. So since she was Mishamesh Be'edim, Rashi says she was baidik herself with an aid, with a sadam, with a cloth, before and after relations with her husband. That counts like a bedika, and she need not be concerned going back past that point. Keita daya sha'ata. The term daya, it is sufficient for her to be concerned sha'ata from that moment onward. How does that play out? Let's say she's sitting on a bed, which was their practice. They would sit on beds and do their things. By Asukah with the Haris, she was touching items which are tahar. Upirsha. She left the bed. Virasa. At that moment, she notices them. Heat may be iris. Of course, she's telling me, but those items, those strawberries that she was checking, are okay. Even though it was a minute ago, doesn't matter. One more point. It says the Mishnah, Afal Bisha Amru Metam Meis Leis. So although the Chachamim are concerned going back within 24 hours, that's only a Chumrah. Midrabanan. We're concerned perhaps, maybe, so we give her Tumah status from then. But regarding counting, regarding establishing a count, as we said before, there's a count of 7 days of Niddah. When does the count start? What's considered her first day? Eina Moina. She will only count from now. Ela Mishal Shiras, from the moment of seeing. This is the first day, not the prior day, even though it's within 24 hours. That's only a Chumrah. So we sort of have it both ways. On the one hand, we say we're Machmer regarding strawberries that she touched 18 hours ago. But regarding initiating her Niddah count, this is the first day, not then. Because Minat Torah. You can only work with what you see. She saw dam now. Now is the first day. Okay, so the Mishnah pretty much had two discussions. We had an Isha, she Yesh Levest. In that case, all agree Daya Sha'ata. The concern is only going forward. And Isha She'en Levest, where we had a Machlekes. Shammai says, going forward only. Hillel says, going way back to the most recent Pekida. Chacham say, either that or Meis Leis, whichever one is shorter. Now the obvious question is, my time of the Shammai. Why is it that Shammai is not concerned about going back? What about the fact that the dam could have been there before she noticed it? Because Sarah, he holds, Hamei Dishal Chaskasa. Place the Isha on her track record, meaning she was tahar. Let's presume her status remains that way until proven otherwise. She was a cheskas tahira. She was tahar until proven otherwise. You can't just speculate and make her tamei. Hillel, he disagrees. True. When do we apply chazaka to an item or to a person? That's only hechad lesle reusa bigufei. When there's nothing inherent within the person that's causing the problem. There's no reusa. There's no issue coming from the person itself. Rather, he would be affected by some kind of external factor, to which we say, look, until it arrives, until we know it happened, we don't need to assume. We don't need to speculate. You're okay, you keep on being okay until we know otherwise. It's by a woman. It's built into the system. She's going to have a period sometime, somewhere. It's a regular mode. It's regular practice. So here you can't say, well, she was tahar, she'll continue to be tahar. We know there's going to be some change. It is so. We turn Talmud Bavli. She's seeing it based on her guf. Rashi says, Mo'edes uregila hilakach. It's a regular thing for her to see. You can't apply cheskas. It's going to change sometimes. So once we see that it happened, you certainly have to be concerned that maybe it happened a day ago, maybe it happened a week ago. And it was just stuck there, unnoticed. We can't say ukma achaskasa, place her on her chazaka. And therefore, there's reason for concern. Okay, so again, Anisha has done. Shammai says concern is only going forward. There's no concern going back at all. Why? So according to this pshat, cheskas tahara compels us to say she keeps her tahara status until confirmed otherwise. Hillel challenges this chazaka in this instance because it's something which is slated for change. It's got to change sometime. And once we see it changed, we got to be concerned that perhaps it happened a while ago. The Gemara will pose three kashas. First, from the mikveh, which was found to be missing and invalid. Next, we have a case of wine, which was used for truma and was discovered to be vinegar. And then we have a case of a mavi, an alleyway, street where they found these sherets. In all three, we have a problematic element in front of us, very similar to the dam that the Isha discovers. And the question is, how far back do we go? How long has it been here? And in all three, we will see that we are concerned going back. And that will pose a question. Certainly on Shammai, who says that by dam, we need not go back in time. Ask the Gemara, the first kasha is from the mikveh, the Snama Mishnah, mikveh shenimda b'emtza chaser. So the mashgiach went to check the mikveh. It's meant to be full to the brim, 40 sa'ah. It's found to be missing, only 38. So you can't use it for tevilah. And what happens with all the tevilahs that occurred in the last week? And the items that he touched based on that tevilah. Says the Mishnah called taharas. All items of tahara shenasu al gaba, which were handled based on the tevilah and the mikveh mafreya, going back in time. Bein b'rshus harabim, bein b'rshus hayachid. Whether Rashi says the mikveh was in a public area where typically that provides a mitigating factor. We know that when there's a suffix regarding tumah in the street, you're tahar. In this case, there's no difference. Whether location is not a factor, Rashi says, because it's not a suffix. The Gemara later will tell us has a din of a vadai. We see a confirmed, definite issue in front of us. So whether it relates to Shasarabim, Beim Shasarabim, Beim Shasayachot, or private air Tumeis, all those items are Tumei. This Mishnah will pose a double question. How? Because L'Shamai, according to Shammai, who says, in the case of the Niddah, we need not go back in time at all. And here we say we do. Kasha Lamafre. It's a kasha on the fact that here we go back in time. Instead of saying, well, let's presume the mikveh was okay the way it was until now, and it's only not okay going forward. No. We validate all the taharis. Going back in time, we're very concerned that perhaps this issue was already present for a while. That's a kasha on Shammai. The Hillel kasha Vadai. Likewise, a kasha on Hillel as well, because even according to Hillel, we go back in time. And when the Isha finds her dam today, we say, oh, you got to go back. Be choshesh from the last, examination. That's only suffix. In fact, we only apply it to truma, v'kachim, which have higher standards. We don't definitively consider it to be tamei. And here in the Mishnah, we say everything's tamei l'mafreya until the last time the mikveh was checked. And the more explains the ilu meis leisha benida, because with the case of the nida, although we do go back meis leis for 24 hours, and according to Hill, even more than that, we go back to the last pekida, Toilen, we considered a suffix. So whatever truma she touched, we put it in limbo. We don't say it's certainly tamei, we just can't eat it. Like we can't eat it, we don't burn it. Because after all, it's just a suffix. But here by the mikvah, tumah vadai, we apply a definite tumah. So it's a double kasha. First, we see that we do go back, and we go back definitively. Says the Gemara, you know why mikvah is worse than the case of Niddah? Hasam, over there by the mikvah, because we can apply the idea of chazaka, hamid, tumeh, chaskase. Look, who needed the mikvah? A person who was tamei. He had a chaskas tumah. He had an established status of tumah. We have to assume that status remained intact. Hamid, tameh, chaskase, ve'ema. We have to say loy taval. We have to assume that he did not have a successful tevilah. So he had a factor against him before he even went into this mikvah. He was tamei, as opposed to the isha, who did not have a cheskas tumah. Says the Gemara, Adarabah. Well, if anything, why don't you look at the mikvah, which had a status of kosher before you discovered it to be missing? So there you have a factor in favor as well. Adarabah, Hamid. Mikvah chaskasai, place the mikvah on its own track record. And you can argue and say, well, it was not missing until right now when it was discovered to be missing. What do you mean? It's missing in front of you. So the facts on the table are pointing to the fact that the mikvah is chaser, and therefore we have a right to assume, to speculate that this condition has been present for a while. Well, so then let's jump back to the niddah. You're saying that the mikveh is worse because of these factors. Well, this factor that you just referred to exists by the niddah as well. Look, there's dam right here, which should lead us to speculate that it was there for a while. Chanami here as well by the woman. I read dam in front of her. No, Ashta l'chazoi, she experienced it now. Sure, it's here. It just arrived. Oh, Chanami here as well by the mikveh. Let's go back to the mikveh. Hashtu d'chaser. It's missing now. Yeah, but maybe. It just happened. How could you compare Hasam by the mikveh? It's a gradual process. It's a slow leak. It doesn't just pop out at once. Hasam maybe over there you can clearly say that chaser v'asa. It's missing as it's going. It's missing, meaning it's a slow, gradual process. It didn't just let go of a gallon of water at once. There must have been some sort of leak. So if it's missing now, it's very likely that it's been missing for quite a while. But by the woman, could you say that she's experiencing chazoi, she experiences dam as an ongoing, gradual process? No, let's assume that the dam just arrived and she was okay until now. Well, my kushi, what do you mean to ask? Hagas chazisim, maybe with the woman as well. Hagas means it was like a build-up, a gradual build-up until it spurted out. It can very well have been a gradual process that began a while ago. So it's sort of stuck. We don't have any, differentiating factors between niddah and mikvah. So back to the question, why by niddah we either do not go back in time at all, according to Shammai, or a suffix at most, whereas by the mikvah we go back in time and we make everything tameh. Says the Gemara, you know why? Hasam ikad tarti l'riyusa. By the mikvah you have two factors against you, two negative elements. It's 2 against 1. Over there you have 2, as opposed to the niddah, it's only 1 element. Over here you only have 1 negative element. By the niddah, all you have is the dam. Dam l'fanecha. Whereas by the mikvah, A, you have the missing mikvah in front of you, and B, the person who used the mikvah had a cheskas tumah. There's a reason why he was table, he was tameh. So on account of the person, we have a reyusa, we have a negative element, and on account of the mikvah as well. So pairing them together generates a compelling basis to speculate, and in fact to confirm halachically that the mikvah could not provide the goods. We assume that the mikvah was chasser for a while, and that tefillah was unsuccessful. And we go back in time until a point in time where we can definitively confirm that the mikvah was okay. As opposed to the dam of the isha, all you have is the single element, the single factor of the presence of the dam. More than that you don't have. Because the isha did not have a cheskas tumah until now, nor did the items that she touched, they were okay, so there's no reason to apply the same stringency as we do by mikvah. So that explains why, according to Shammai, we don't go back in time at all by the niddah, and even according to Hillel, it's only misafik. Next question. What about why is it different in the barrel? What happened by the barrel? The sound you have a bryce. Are you biting as a chavis? So this fellow was a wine drinker, and he knew that wine which he buys in the street, which is which he gets from places which have not done the truma and maser, or his own wine that he produces. He wants to take off truma and maser, but instead of doing it, 1 barrel at a time, 1 bottle at a time, he sets aside a reserve bottle on account, a reserve barrel. He says, look, whenever I get a hold of a tevel, instead of doing the truma from each bottle, I'm going to sort of deduct. I'm going to have a barrel, a credit barrel, and I'll use that as truma on all these bottles. That's great system. Except that you have to make sure that your wine stays wine. It doesn't spoil, because once it turns vinegar, it's not suitable for truma on wine. Rashi brings it's a shita of Rebbe back in Bava Basra, who says that wine and vinegar are 2 different types, 2 different things. You can't do truma from one on the other. So initially he checked the barrel, the content, and it was okay. And later on, after using it for truma and many other, he went back to check the barrel, found it to be vinegar. What now? So certainly going forward he can't use it as truma. What about going back? How long ago did this happen? Which would invalidate the process, the truma and the maser. Going forward from that, from that time going forward. So he examined the content of the barrel, in order to use it for an ongoing, truma separation system. And a while later, he discovered it to be vinegar. It's called Gimel Yamim. So the 3 days, Rashi brings 2 shitas. One shita says, meaning for the past 3 days, vadai, it's confirmed to be vinegar, because it takes 3 days for it to really be vinegar. So if it's proper vinegar today, it must have been that way for the last 3 days. So the process must have already started 3 days ago, and certainly last 3 days, whatever happened, any truma that he did on account of the wine turned vinegar is not, it doesn't count. But going back beyond that point, 4 days ago, 5 days ago, a month ago, past that point is suffix. You don't know. What do you do when you have a suffix truma? Rashi brings, you have to redo the truma. Fine. So once again, we have a kasha. Kasha l'shamay. Now this is only a kasha on shamay. This very much fits with the chachamim that you do go back in time and you apply a suffix status. But according to Shammai, we never go back in time by the niddah. Why is this different? So the Gemara will pretty much go through the very similar steps to the previous discussion and conclude with the idea of 2 against 1. It says the reason why the barrel is because he was attempting to absolve the tevel, right? He bought a bottle of tevel. So there's a cheskas tevel. And therefore we have to maintain that status until proven otherwise. Ve'emar, we have to say, it wasn't fixed, it wasn't corrected, it wasn't addressed. He was trying to address a tevel, so until you can confirm that he did a valid, halachically valid process, you can't change its status. And that fact is unique to the tevel, which doesn't apply by the isha. Look at the wine sitting in that credit barrel. It had been confirmed as wine initially. Let's assume it retained that status. It did not sour. What do you mean? You see sour wine in front of you. Okay, so then by the isha as well, you see blood right here. Let's assume it was here for a while. No, she saw it now. She experienced it now. Not beforehand. It's there by the wine as well. Who says turned vinegar a week ago? It's a current, the new development. How could you compare? There it's a gradual process. But there you can certainly speculate that it's slowly developed into vinegar. By the woman. You don't say that. It was a gradual experience. Yeah, my kushi, what do you mean to ask? Maybe she saw it gradually. It was a build-up until it came out. Says the Gemara, once again, it's 2 against 1. Contrast to the story of the vinegar, where you have 2 elements in the negative. A, you have the vinegar in front of you. B, the wine that you're trying to address was established as tevel until proven otherwise. So you have 2 factors. And therefore, it is reason for concern, as opposed to the isha, where it's only a single factor, the presence of dam, which you don't know when it developed. And therefore, over here, going to Shammai, we need not be concerned going back in time. Now, before we get to the 3rd kasha from the Sheretz, the Gemara will sort of take a tangent here to analyze, to sort of compare the previous discussion. We have 2 very similar phenomena. We have the case of the missing mikvah, where we apply tumah retroactively, going back, tumah vadai, versus the case of the barrel, the chavis, where although we're concerned going back in time, but only a suffix. What's the difference? Now we can challenge, we can ask a kasha between the chavis and the mikvah. Why is it by the mikvah? We apply the definite tumah status going back in time, as opposed to the story of the chavis, of the truma. It's only a suffix. There's no machlekes whatsoever. There are 2 positions here, 2 shitas that are talking. Mantana chavis Reb Shimoni. True, according to the chachamim, in both cases, it's a valid concern. The reason why we only apply suffix by the chavis is Reb Shimon speaking. Reb Shimoni, truthfully, he would say the same by the mikvah. That's only a suffix. Because he holds that even when it's, double factor against you, the tatel yusa doesn't have a status of a vada. At most it's a suffix. The snan, the sanya. We find that a brisa, which narrates the same story of the mikvah, in this case it brings in Reb Shimon's opinion as well. The sanya, mikvah shnimda ben tzochatzer, so they checked the mikvah, turned out to be missing, kol taharas shnasu al gab, all the taharas that were done on account of the tefillah in that mikvah, I'm afraid, going back in time, irrespective of location, right? They're tamei vadai. So that expresses the position of the Chachamim, who would apply the same thing with the question of the truma in the barrel. And now comes Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon Omer, no. At most, it's a suffix. In fact, he says, if the concern relates to something in the street, it's tahar. as per the general rule that a suffix tumah in a public domain is treated as tahar. We learned from the Saita, we'll see later, a woman who went into concealment with a stranger, in violation of her husband's warning. So she's considered to be tummy until confirmed otherwise, until she drinks the waters, right? That's only because she went into a private area. She's a yachid. But otherwise, she's a rabbin, she's completely tahar. So we extrapolate that formula from the Saita. We say, look, a suffix tumah is dependent on the location. Location plays a role in determining the status of the tumah. She's a rabbin, it's tahar. She's a yachid, it's tummy. Says Reb Shimon here as well. Reb Shimon Ayim Shis Rabbim Tahiris. This suffix with the mikvah relates to the Shis Rab. Those taharis that were handled based on the tefillah and the mikvah are tahar. Rishal Yachad Toilin. If it happened in a private area, then it's not tahar. We have to be concerned about a possible tumah. And the more explains. We turn to the next one. Ushneim lo ylamdu al misaita. Both positions, both opinions, Rabbanan and Reb Shimon, are coming from Saita. They're both coming from the same source, but they disagree on how to learn, how to compare it to the Saita. Rabbanan Savri, Rabbanan are of the position Ki Saita. Let's compare it to the Saita. Ma Saita, just like by the Saita, Safaki, Asur Kavada. Even though we're not sure what occurred, it's a suffix, whether she got really involved with that man or not. Va'asur Kavada. She was treated like a vadai until otherwise determined by way of the drinking of the waters. Hachanami as well regarding this suffix tumah. Suffix, it is a suffix true, but asur kavada is treated like a vadai tumah. Ask the girl, what do you mean hold it? If you're learning from Saita, Saita has a flip side as well. Location does play a role, which is Ram is tahar. And here we're not differentiating. If in fact you're coming from the Saita, we should learn all the way. Compare it to the Ki Saita. Ma Saita, just like over there, Birshas Ram in a public area, she's tahar. Achanami result by the suffix tumah. Birshas Ram, if it happened in the street, tahar, it should be tahar. And you're not differentiating. Location doesn't play a role. Why? Well, how could you compare? The issue by the Saita is a totally different issue. There it's a matter of concealment. So by definition, ustira, this idea of stira, is not applicable in a public area. Which is Rab Meleka. There's no concept of stira, of going to hiding if it's in a public area. So of course she's unaffected. Here by the mikvah, it's a totally different set of elements here. We're talking about a fellow who was toivel, he touched something, he was tummy. It's a question of a missing mikvah. How does location play any role in that? Mali chasar b'shas rabim, mali chasar b'shas yachad. What's the difference whether the missing mikvah was in the street or in the private area? Well, perhaps based on that, then you'll negate the entire formula that we have throughout Shas. Many times we say, Hakol Safek Tumah B'Shas Rabim Torah. We do compare a Tumah to Saita. We say that a person, let's say, is not sure whether he touched something which makes him Tumah. It depends where it is. Location is a factor. Private domain, you're Tumah. Public area, you're Tahar. Why? Because of Saita. Apparently, we have no issue comparing Saita to other Tumah issues. So why is this case of the mikveh different? Says the Gemara. And Tosfos says the Gemara could have gone straight to this point, but the Gemara wanted to sort of, discuss and make reference to the Saita to explain why it's compatible with Saita. In any case, the Gemara does conclude that here it's very different because of the double factor that compels us to apply Tumah, Vadai, irrespective of location. Given the Katat L'Rusa, since over here by the missing mikvah, you have two factors in the negative. Vadai Tumah Dami. True. Of course, we will learn from Saita that location plays a role. But that's strictly when it's a Safek Tumah. You're not sure that I touched, that I not, location plays a role. That's the halacha that we learn from Saita. But not when it's a double whammy, when you have two strikes against you. You have a fellow who was known to be tummy, who attempted to use the mikvah, which was now discovered to be missing, two factors against you, it's like a vadai. Yes, by a suffix, location plays a role, but not by a vadai. Kivadai tumah, in which case we apply tumah retroactively. Reb Shimon says no. Kisaita, we will compare to the saita. Meaning, Taisus explains, despite the double, negative factors, we still consider it a suffix, which gives us the license to compare it to the saita. Shimon savar kisaita, ma saita, just like by the saita, location is a factor, and therefore Rishus Harab mitzvah, Hanami as well. If the issue relates to Rishus Harab, Hanami Rishus Harab mitzvah. Fine. So that explains that. But let's go back for a second. Let's take note of Reb Shimon's full statement. He says on the bottom line of Beis on Beis, Rishus Harab mitzvah. Okay, we've explained that. It's only a suffix, which allows us to compare to Soita, suffix to Rishus Harab mitzvah. But the second part, Rishus HaYachid, if it happened in Rishus HaYachid, you would say it's Tamei. No, he says Toilim. It's only a suffix. What do you mean? Says the Gemara, Ima Soita, if you're coming from Soita, you have to go all the way. Full comparison. Emo Ki Soita, we have to follow the Soita formula entirely. Ma Soita, just like over there, Rishus HaYachid, Tmei Vadai, she's definitely Tamei until she confirms otherwise, until she drinks the water, right? Hachanami as well, with the missing Mikvah, Rishus HaYachid should be Tmei Vadai, not a suffix. Says the Machihashta, you can't compare. The Saita is worse off. Rashi says Raglaim Ladamar means a Simon Tumah. There's a strong indicator working to her detriment. It's worse off than the mikvah. You know why? The husband warned her, and she went ahead anyways. So based on that, she acquires tumah status because there are indicators that in fact she's guilty. But here by the mikvah, you don't have any indications. You have no indications to tumah, and therefore in this case, as Reb Shimon, at most we have a state of uncertainty. It's a suffix. So if it's truma, toilim, it's in a pending status. You can't eat it, but you can't burn it until. People is saying another approach to explain Reb Shimon's position. How many times Reb Shimon? Gomar seif tumah mitchilas tumah. The reason why, according to Reb Shimon, when it's Rishus Harab, in the case of the missing mikvah, he compares the end of the tumah process to the beginning of the tumah process. Now, what do we mean the beginning and the end? There are two phases here. There's the initial tumah experience. He touched the tumah, he became tamei. And when there's a suffix on that, we know location plays a role. Where did it happen? The street, you're okay. In the house, you're tamei. And then there's seif tumah, the conclusion of the process. The release of the tumah. Being relieved of the tumah by way of being toivel in the mikvah. So it's pretty much all part of the same process. Just this is the beginning, this is the end. Reb Shimon compares notes. He says, just like at phase one, meaning when it's a question of whether I touched, whether I experienced the tumah, certainly location plays a role. That's what we learned from the Saita. Likewise, when it's a question, did I relieve myself of the tumah? Did I go into a valid mikvah? Did I purify myself of that tumah? There too, when there's a suffix, location plays a role, and if it's a Shram Yutar. By saying my time, Reb Shimon Gomar, he will compare Soif Tumah, the conclusion, the end of the Tumah process, meaning the Tefillah and the Mikvah, with Chilas Tumah from the beginning, from the question of touching the Tumah to begin with. Mat Chilas Tumah, just like the initiation of the process. When it's a question of, did I or did I not touch, Safek, Noga, Savalei Noga, location is a factor, which is Ram Yutar, as we learn from the Saita of Soif Tumah. Likewise, the conclusion. If it's a question of, did I lose that Tumah, was I Toivel? Safek, Toval, not sure that it was a toivel, suffix loy tovel. If the question relates to the street, which is Ram Yutar. For Rabbanan, they respond no. How could you compare? Sure, if it's a question of did I or did I not touch, well, it's a question of tchilas tumah, I can fully understand. Now you can't be matami him if it was Rishus Harab, because the man had an established status. He was tahar. So you presume that status carries on. He maintains that tahara status. Hasam Gavra, the man, becheskas tahara, he stands in his cheskas tahara. misveika, on account of uncertainty, lemachtin leituma. Lemachtin leituma, we can't give him tumah status. But once a person was tainted by tumah, and it's a question of, did he relieve himself of that tumah? It's an entirely different story. He already had a tumah status. So how can you undo that when you're not sure? Misfeika, on account of uncertainty, you can't extract him of his tumah until you confirm that in fact it happened. Okay, so that's an interesting sort of side discussion on account of the reference to that story of the mikvah and the chavis. The Gemara got into a whole discussion, sort of a side point, difference of opinion between Reb Shimon and the Chachamim, to what extent we have the concerns, and how it lines up with the Saita factor. But in any case, going back to our discussion, Maseches Niddah, the woman who notices the dam, do we go back in time? Do we apply tumah retroactively or not? So let's just recap the sugya. We have the straightforward case of the isha that has a vest. That's the second part of the Mishnah. All agree dayashata. Since she had a chazaka that she only sees now, it's a pattern, it's a chazaka. We assume that it didn't happen prior to this moment, and she's Torah until now. Dayashata. Versus kol anashim, right? All women, meaning even women that do not have a vest. So such and such a case, we have a three-way machlekes. She notices blood today. Shammai says, concern only starts today going forward. And the reason for that, the Gemara gave, was because of the chazaka. Fact is, the isha was presumed to be Torah, so let's assume she maintained that status until the dam was discovered. Hillel, on the other hand, disagrees. He says, what do you mean? That's true when, there's no reason to believe there was any issues, but by the isha, where sooner or later there'll be blood introduced into the equation, it's just part of the regular mode of life. So in this case, you can't assume she was Torah definitively, and therefore if you find dam today, we have to be very concerned that perhaps the dam was trapped in there for a while, going back until the last pekida, until the last examination. Chacham say it's going a bit too far. Let's not assume that it was held up that long. Rather, it's meis leis or last examination, whichever window of time is shorter. We had a kasha from the story of the mikveh where we do apply tumah vaday going back. The Gemara responded that was tatel yusa, the double factor there, which compels us to apply tumah, which doesn't apply by the niddah. And that explains why, according to Shammai, by the niddah we're not concerned at all. Or according to Hillel and the Chachamim, we are concerned, but only suffix tumah. We don't apply vaday tumah because it's not tatel yusa. The same exact svara was applied to the case of the chavis, the truma as well. So it was found to be vinegar. We apply a tumah going back, and the question was on Shammai. This was only on Shammai. Why is there a concern there, not over here? And the answer was, there we have two factors in the negative. We have the tevel, which was presumed to be tevel, and we have the sour wine. Tatel riyusa is a whole different story, as opposed to niddah, where it's only chadal riyusa because of the dam. We don't have any more than that, and therefore we can allow ourselves to be lenient and only be concerned going forward. Okay, tomorrow we'll pick up from the next question, which was the question of the sheres that was found in the Mavi. Similar story, we have found an issue. The question is, was the issue there even prior to discovery? It's going to be a kasha, because there we say it is, and Shammai in the Mishnah is not concerned about going back in time. The question will be why the difference. Okay, all the best to you, and hatzlacha.